Please put your phones away.
For so many reasons, but I'd like to just focus on one. Many of you may know there's a parsha in the Torah about Ir Hanidachas, a city that the majority of the members of that city were Obdei Avodah Zarah. They worshipped idols. So the Torah goes through an interesting process that unfortunately, the Gemara says it never happened, according to some, that the majority of the city, so you actually have to take the people of the city and you have to kill the people of the city. Very strong punishment. But the Torah says something very interesting. You should not take, you're not allowed to take any of the possessions of that city. This will help Hashem's anger subside from this issue. Very interesting pasuk. The pasuk says, God will give you mercy. And the Archaim HaKadosh and many others are bothered. Why does the Torah say over here, and God will give you mercy? Obviously, being our Merachem is very important for a Jew. We are Rachmanim, Baishanim, Gomlei Chasadim. We are, by nature, a merciful people. Why here, when we're involved in the mitzvah of killing out a city of Obdei Avodah Zarah, why here does the pasuk say, Hashem will give you mercy? And the Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh says very, very beautifully, when a person is involved in killing, when a person kills people, the Torah is concerned that maybe he's going to develop the mentality of a killer and he will not have sensitivity and understanding and appreciation for human life. If you have to kill people all the time, you may lose that sensitivity. So Hashem is saying, don't worry. There's a commandment called Ir Hanidachas. I commanded you that you have to kill out a city, but don't worry, I won't let you lose your humanity. I won't let you lose your sensitivity, your rachamim, your sensitivity to human life. Everyone in this room knows there is no army in the world that follows compassion, sensitivity, and understanding like Chayalei Tzahal. And that's not the only reason why we have them here today, about how they are role models, about how to put their lives on the line. People who are willing to sacrifice their lives for us, for our country, for our brothers and sisters, for our Am Yisrael, for our Medinat Yisrael. Not just for that, but they do it the way a Torah Jew does it. They do it with the way that the Torah instructs a soldier to be. And there's tremendous emunah b'Hashem, tremendous feeling on behalf of our chayalim, on behalf of so many of our chayalim. Can you imagine, gentlemen, a chayal who very often davens 3 times a day and who sets aside time for limud Torah and goes out into the battlefield with a gun having to kill people? It's not a contradiction. It's not a stira. This is what our army is. Our army is men and women who believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who believe in Am Yisrael, who believe in Medinat Yisrael, who believe in the importance of helping other people, but they don't lose, even in the course of having to kill people, and Rahman al-Islam, and having to be involved in dangerous situations, and to put literally a 20, 25, 30-year-old life on the line for the sake of other people, for the sake of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for the sake of Am Yisrael, for the sake of Medinat Yisrael. So what an incredible privilege it is for us to welcome these 11 Chayalim. We're going to have a short program here for you this morning. And what I want to first do, and then afterwards, each of the Chayalim are going to be going into your shir rooms and speaking a little bit more intimately in small groups. You'll have two back-to-back presentations. First, I want to introduce our game, the person in charge of this, that's Rafael Ween. Rafael, you can come join me here. Maybe the first thing we should just go around the group, have everybody just introduce themselves, maybe from what city in Israel you are, maybe just from where you are. Just introduce yourself.
Hey, Boker Tov. My name is Tyler Bishali, 22 years old. I'm living in Kazmotsky, small town in Haifa, and I was the Golan Brigade.
Hi everyone, my name is Yosef Abrahamson. I'm 22 years old and lived in Jerusalem my whole life, and now live up north in Ma'alot, and I was in the Nachal Brigade.
My name is Daniel Ween, Rafi's younger brother. I'm 24 years old, live in a yeshuv in the Shomron called Piduel, and serve in the Nachal Brigade.
My name is Fadi Ben Yakab, I'm 22 years old. I live in Beersheba. I made Aliyah to Israel when I was 17. I served in the reconnaissance battalion of the paratroopers.
Boker Tov, my name is Matan Dansker, I'm 22 years old. I live in a town called Efrat, right next to Jerusalem in Gush Etzion. I serve in the Golan Brigade.
Hi everybody, I'm Adam. I'm a third-year law student, 30 years old, living in Herzliya. I was in the bomb squad.
Hi guys, my name is Ohad, I'm 27 years old. I study law with Adam, and I served in Golan, which is an elite unit connected to the power control.
Boker Tov guys, my name is Avichal Dayag, 24 years old, and I served in the Golani Brigade in Givat Zev.
Boker Tov everyone, my name is Ariel from Ra'anana, and I served in the Kfir Brigade.
Boker Tov, my name is Micha Dayag, I'm Michal's smaller brother. I'm 23 years old and I served also in the Golani Brigade.
We're rich on time. I want to get straight back into the stories. We're gonna have two speakers. My name is Rafael Ween. Sorry, I'm 27 years old. I'm moving to Yerushalayim at the end of the month, and I served in the Givat Brigade, and now serve in the Northern Gaza Brigade as a reserve soldier. So we're just gonna throw you right into. We're gonna give you two soldiers here. We're gonna give you a short stint of 5 to 8 minutes, and then I'll be back at the end.
Can everybody hear me without the mic?
Yeah.
How are you all doing? As I said before, my name is Micha Dayag, nice to meet you all. The story I'll be telling here is not the same story I'll be telling in the classroom. The classroom is more what you would expect, my soldier getting injured, having a near-life death and everything. What I'd like to speak to you here is more what went around my parents' lives while I was in there. I'll explain why. How many of you here have a overstressed mother? If it's raining outside and you go and you don't have a coach who screams at you, yeah, we're all with you, we're together, we understand. Try and explain to that mother, you're going into war. No fun, you agree? So if using your mother's ties, you didn't mean my mother, yeah, I promise you she's alone. So what happens is, before we go into Gaza, there's a lot of talking around. When are we going in? What are we going to do? Where are we going to? Therefore, days before, sometimes even weeks, they take your phones away. And the reason is why, because even when the phones are totally off and not used, they can still be detected by where they are, as in GPS, and the enemy can hear through them, even when they're totally off. Yeah? Even when they're totally off, the enemy can still hear through them. Therefore, you don't want any phones or any soldiers, so no intel will leak out to the enemy. So they take our phones away. Before they take our phones away, they give you a choice. They ask you, who would you like to ring? Your last phone call. Who would you normally say? Mother, father, yeah? Well, not in my business. I'm going to ring my mother. I said this before, and it's hard for her to cope with the fact that she has me and my brother were together in combat unit. That's hard enough for her to tell her, by the way, I'm going into war. She won't sleep at night, she won't eat. It's something I didn't want to do. Therefore, the person I ran was my older brother. When I ran him, of course, even then I can't really talk to him on the phone. How are you doing? By the way, I'm going in. You choose. It doesn't work like that. So we had a code between us. When I go in, I'll use this code. The code was, I'll use the word honor in Hebrew, kavod, in sentence, because we talk with each other in English. And if you hear that, he knows I'm going in. So I did that. He understands. Of course, between us, the thing is, don't tell my parents. If you see for some reason that they need to know, so tell them. I rather they don't know. So I'm fine, I'm calm. I'm not going into Gaza. If my parents need to know, they need to know. If not, they won't. Stepping into Gaza, you can imagine a war zone is not the happiest place to be in. It's a lot more also what you see in the movies, a lot more missiles and tanks and explosions and everything is 10 times over. Start of the mission, we're going in, Baruch Hashem, all good, the good it can be. We start doing our job, which one of them is protecting the sea, and the other one is actually looking for the tunnel, like what nearly everybody did. And the thing is, we are not allowed in and out. For very, very obvious reasons. One is going in and out is a waste of time, and second thing is going in and out, you'll start knowing stuff you don't need to know. What do I mean? When you're in war, your matzav regshi, your moral support is already not as stable as you can imagine. People sometimes are in crisis, chronic crisis. Therefore, you don't want them to know anything else that can make them in even more crisis. For instance, one of their friends dying somewhere else, or somebody getting injured. You want them to be concentrating on their mission and nothing more than that. One problem about that, we had tanks with us. Tanks cannot stay in without going out. They need fuel, they need ammunition, they're going in and out all the time. What happened is, one of the tanks, when he came back, he came with injury. The injury was that one of my head commanders had been killed. At first I was very sad. And then I got into panic. I started screaming all over, I don't believe it, she knows, she knows. The commander called me like, what do you want, what's the problem? And I'm like, she knows, she knows. Who knows, what are you talking about? He smacked me across the face, like, what happened? Like, my mother knows I'm in Gaza. Well, duh, everybody's in Gaza, what are you talking about? No, I didn't tell her. What do you mean you didn't tell her? I thought it was smart not to tell her. Like, you idiot. What do you mean, what? And I'm like, yeah, I know that's the smartest thing in the world. Because I know my mother's smart, which in that case the apple fell very far from the tree. And if she knows that one of my head commanders was killed, so Micha did not lie to me because I didn't go in, but he didn't tell me the full truth. But he's in there. So, while I was in there, I understand now that my mother knows. I have to release from these stories, because I have a mission in front of my eyes, and having the impact on my mind that my mother's now not sleeping or eating or I don't know what, is not going to help me fulfill my mission. With all that being said and done, we were in for a week. We come out. The first thing I want to do is try and talk to my mother. So I don't have my phone with me. My phone is somewhere in Israel, I don't know, between north, east, west, south. Wouldn't have a clue where my phone is. So I start running around, you can imagine, I'm not smelling like roses, I'm also smelling like a pigsty in a way, being in for a week. I'm running around with my gun, running around after people like, you have a phone, you have a phone. I'm like, well, calm down, don't kill me, what did I do to you? After a while, I find a person who had the phone, and I ring my mother. So I'm like, in the beginning, of course, he doesn't recognize the number, so I'm like, Ima. And then I hear, Micha, and then a bunch of screaming. So I take my phone away, and I didn't hear a word. Something I can't quote for you is, I will kill you. So like, thank God I survived Gaza to come home and die there. And even though I'm not sure how I did it, to be honest, I managed to not to lie to my mother, not to lie, but to fib in a way, and convince her that I wasn't in there, and everything's okay. And only after the war actually ended, 2 weeks later, did I tell her that I was inside, and then we fought well, and all was good. When I got home, after 50 or 60 days, and my mother didn't see me, so she cried, she gave me a hug, and after that, I got a slap across the face, for not telling her. And for some reason, I had to ask her a question. I looked into her eyes, and I asked her a question, a simple question. As you can see, my English is not perfect, but it's better than the average Israeli, because my mother made Aliyah from England, and my father from Australia. And I looked at my mother in the eyes and I asked, why did you do it? You knew making Aliyah would put you in a position where all me, or your son, or 90% sure one of your sons is going to be in a combat unit. And 100% sure that when there'll be a war, he'll be going in. And we both know you, like, I love you dearly, but you're no good for that. And like, so why did you do it? And she looked at me in the eye and she said, if it was for me, I wouldn't have done it. Because what I didn't do for me. Me bringing you up with the morals and being a combat warrior for Am Israel, I didn't do it for my benefit. Because you're right. If I was thinking about myself, I would push into office job. But I did it for Klal Am Israel. And that's something I would really like to bless you. Every night, look in the mirror. Ask yourself, what did you do? Why did you do it? And who did you do it for? If the answer is, I did it for other people, and it's for the right reasons, then there's a saying in Hebrew, Hashamayim Yomru. The sky is the limit. Thank you very much.
I'm going to try to make an attempt without a mic. How are we doing? In the back there? Corner? By this corner? Yeah? All good? That corner? All good? Fantastic.
Sorry, then.
Do you capitalize on what is yours? Are you able to realize your own greatness? Or do you just let history walk by your life? That's a question that we are faced with in Israel, but not just in Israel, each and every one of us in this room, many times a month, and many times throughout our own lives. As Micha said, later in the classrooms we'll share more of the war, action kind of stories that you guys probably want to hear. But for now, I want to share with you one small anecdote. To try to follow up what the rabbi, what's the rabbi's name? Rabbi Kamenetsky was speaking about beforehand, as to the care we take in order to preserve Kedushat HaChaim, the sanctity of life, that Tzahal is so famous for. I want to tell you a story about a friend of mine, Yehoshua. When I drafted, my name's Ariel Brownstein, as I said before. I grew up in Ra'anana, and as I drafted in the year 2007, I had with me 9 Machal guys, 9 guys who volunteered to the army. I saw one of their pictures up here on the wall. Josh Hirsch was with me. He's up on the wall here, amongst all the many graduates of this fine school that joined the military. I want to tell you a story about one of them, Yehoshua. Yehoshua joined us from the United States. He grew up here. And he came with this big velvet kippah, this massive smile, and a tremendous amount of energy. He's always motivating us, pushing us along, inspiring us. And he had, you know what chutzpah is? Chutzpah? So he had that kind of cheeky chutzpah. That's fun to be around. That's charming. Like say, for example, forget the actual story what happened. We were once in some stakeout. Yeshua, myself, and my friend Avi. And we're sitting there crouching in the bush, waiting for a terrorist to come. We knew he was going to come. We wanted to take him down. And we're dressed as bushes in camouflage uniform. And you can imagine, in the middle of the night, every single sound makes you jump. Because you're waiting for that terrorist to come and to pull the trigger. And it's quiet. And suddenly Yeshua picks up his hand and goes, Mario, I'm hungry. I'm going to order pizza. This is a true story. That's the kind of guy he was. So we finish our training. We end up in the West Bank. And maybe just a small anecdote as to what the rabbi is speaking about. We'll get back to Yeshua, but the West Bank is an area. But by the way, it was named the West Bank by Jordan in 1950. We know it as Yehuda v'Shomron, Judea and Samaria. Fun? Important point to know. So we find ourselves in the city of Shechem. Who's buried in Shechem? Yosef HaTzadik. In English they call it Nablus, and so do the Palestinians. And one day we receive intelligence. At the time Shechem was surrounded. It was the capital of terrorism. Nobody goes in or goes out without IDF screening due to the fact that it was such a breeding ground for terrorists. And one day we received intelligence that two terrorists, are going to be smuggling weapons out of Shechem. Now the intelligence was so precise that we knew what route they were going to be taking. We knew what car they were going to be driving, the license plate, the color, and the ID of the two brothers driving. So immediately we deployed troops to the location of the route they were going to take. We had a small structure at the side, so it was very convenient. And we set up a makeshift checkpoint. My friend Yuval and myself rushed up ahead, crouching 150 meters at the side of the road in the bush, as spotters, waiting for them to come, and slowly a line, and we would radio back to our guys behind their ear, and slowly a line of cars began to form due to the makeshift checkpoint. The time frame we knew they were coming was from now to the next few hours. And as we crouched there, the sun began to set. We're waiting there 20 minutes, half an hour, 40 minutes. It's dark by now. There's a line of cars, and they're not coming. So commanding officer decided we'll have a change of tactic. Maybe they saw the line of vehicles, and they realized the IDF was on to them. There's a checkpoint being set up here. So they decided to postpone their smuggling of ammunition and weapons to perpetrate attacks against Israelis, and they turned around. So we'll change the tactic. Cancel the makeshift checkpoint. Everybody go into the structure. Remain on with your gear on. We'll leave two guys outside, which is not so suspicious. And when they come, the guys outside give a shout. We'll all come in running out, and we'll catch them. Fine? Good plan, Baruch Hashem. So my friend Shmuel and myself volunteered to stay outside. And 2 minutes later, I promise you, 2 minutes later, a green Pajero Jeep rolled up the road. That's the car we were waiting for. So right away we run at it with our weapons. Cocking our weapons, stop, pick up your hands, turn off the car. And they stop the car, and their hands don't move. My friend, I'm in front of the driver. My friend Shmuel is facing the passenger. And my friend Shmuel shouts again, Wakif, pick up your hands, turn off the car. I give a nod with my gun, listen to the man. And they don't move their hands. Now I know they're terrorists, I know they're armed, so I need those hands up in the air soon and fast to see that they're clean and I'm safe. Because if he's not going to move his hands, if he's going to pull out his weapon on me, I'm not going to wait for the first shot to come go. I'm going to make that first shot. And so my finger that till now was at the side of the gun starts moving towards the trigger. And as my friend Shmuel gives a third shout, and my finger's moving to the trigger, the hands move. They move down, and not up. And that's the wrong way, right? Because if they're moving down, where are they going? Pick something up. So it seems like you go pick up the gun. But if they're going to pick up the gun, I should shoot. But maybe he's just going to turn off the ignition, or pull out the handbrake. Which one is it? Okay? What do? Is he going to, do I shoot at the expense of maybe killing someone I don't want to shoot? Because if he's not going to pull out his weapon, I have no right to shoot him. Or do I hold my fire at the expense of jeopardizing my life? Which one do I do? Okay? Which one do I do, guys? What do? You guys are all dead. You don't have time to make that. Till you said shoot, you've lost it. You have 2.5 seconds, guys, to make that decision. And it's only based on your intuition and your professional skills as a soldier that you have at that moment to make that decision. Do I pull the trigger? And maybe shooting somebody I don't want to? And not being able to unshoot once you shoot, that's heavy. or do I not do that? Now that's a decision that I chose to wait patiently. Thank God, because he turned off the ignition, picked up the handbrake, and put up his hand. And we found the weapons and everything. But can we say that I made the right decision in the sense that, what's your name? Daniel, if he would choose alternatively and shoot, he made the wrong decision? I don't think so. Now the point I want to share with you in this story, and then finish up, is the following. The only reason that I didn't shoot immediately is because of what Rabbi Kamenetsky said. It would have been easy to know if they're terrorists, they have weapons, just shoot, whatever. The only reason why I withheld my fire is because if I do not exercise careful judgment, if any of us do not exercise careful judgment with the trigger, with the gun, then we lose our legitimacy to wear the IDF uniform. We lose our legitimacy to call ourselves a tzava Yehudi, a tzava that represents HaKadosh Baruch Hu in this world. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it says, V'rachamav al kol ma'asav, he is merciful on all his creation. And thus Rav Goren, who was the first chief rabbi of the IDF, I don't know if you know there was a chief rabbi of the IDF, he writes in a tshuva, even in the middle of battle, you cannot harm innocent lives because we must emulate the ways of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who is mercy on all his creation. And that, my friends, is what separates Tzahal from the rest of the armies. The rest of the story of Yeshua and other stories will come later on. It's such a privilege to be here with you guys. We hope you enjoy it.
Okay, before we go on to the next part of the program, I'm going to ask everyone to please rise. We're going to say a special prayer for Medinat Yisrael, followed by the Mishaber of Chayalei Tzahal. Then we will sing together Hatikva, and then we'll have some final words from Rafael.
מגן עליו ברבס חסדך ופרוס עליו סוכה שלומך ושלח אורך ועמיד כל ראשי השרה ויועציה וסכנים ויצאתו בפניך. כזה גס ידי מגני ארץ קשים הנכלם ולהם ישוב עטר סצחון תעתרם ונשאת שלום בארץ וסכנס עולם ליושביה. וסכינו כל בית ישראל בקודם בחרצות וסוריהם וסולחים מירוך ומיוס ציני רכה וישלם משכן שמך הכנסו בסורס משה עבדך מי ינדך מפי השמיים ושם יקבץ כאן אלוהיך ומשם יקבחך. ויחן אלוהיך לארץ אשר ירשו אבסך וישתה ויחנך וירבך מאבסך. ויחד לבבינו לעבוד וליראה שמך ולשמור אז כל דברי סורסך ושלח לנו מהרה בדוד בשיח צדקך לבדוס בך קץ שורסך. והופע בהדר גאון מזך על כל יושבי ישראל לעשך ויאמר כל אשר נשמע ביעקב אדוני אלוהי ישראל מלך ומלכוסו בכל משלה אמן סלע. מי שבירך ועושה רבי יצחק ויעקב ויברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל העומדים על משמר ארצנו וערי אלוהינו מגבול הלבנון ועד מדבר מצרים ומהים הגדול עד רבוע הערבה ביבשה באוויר ובים. ייתן אדוני את אויבינו הקודמים עלינו ניגפים לפניהם. הקדוש ברוך הוא ישמור ויציל את חיילינו מכל צר ומצוקה וכל נגע ומחלה וישלח לך בהצלחה בכל מעשה ידיהם. ידבר שונאינו תחתיהם ויעטרם בחסר ישועה ועטרת ניצחון ויקוים בהם הכסוף כי אדוני אלוהיכם ההולך עמכם וילחם לכם עם אויביכם להושיע אתכם ונאמר אמן. Everyone please join me.
Amen.
Please be seated.
I won't talk you for too long, as soon as I'm going to get into the real stuff and express the classroom here to each classroom here to soldiers. Chet Egel was done as the whole congregation. The whole congregation in Israel made the synagogue of God. And in today's Pasha, we read one of the tikkun that Moshe tries to do, and he does that. It might be a bit of a way that sometimes you see in pagans, and he grinds it up and he puts it all into water and makes all of Israel drink it. But I don't want to go into that now. But the main point was that there's similar terminology and etymology between the two episodes. When the Chet HaEgel was by Kel al-Aaron, right? They all came, they congregated around Aaron, refreshed him and that's how they fell into the sin of the golden calf. And then when Moshe tries to do the tikkun, the same word is used, vayakel, that he congregates all of Bnei Israel to make them drink the water that was the tikkun. And throughout the rest of the parsha, this idea of congregation is emphasized in two ways. One, in time, and one in space. In time, it was Shabbat, emphasized in this parsha about the Shabbat, where everyone gets together and we see now today that you all go to shul on Shabbat and we have meals and it's congregated, and the idea of Vayakel, the whole congregation comes together. And in time, that's in time. In space, we have the Mishkan, which later on we know that the Mishkan, the Beit HaMikdash, and nowadays we have the Beit HaKnesset. And the Knesset is Kehillah, the Knesset coming together. And I think it's wonderful that here today, Friday afternoon, just before Shabbat, we can come to this congregation, this Kehillah, inside this Beit HaMikdash, and share some of the stories that we have with you, some of our stories, and try and get some messages over to you. And we'd just like to present the rabbi and the school with two small gifts of appreciation from the Golani Brigade and to keep this, as Ariel said, there are students here that go and serve with us in the army, and if you can only continue that, it's difficult as it may be outside of Israel to continue that, all the chesed that you do, all the money, we see all the tzedakah boxes, all the baked, everything that goes towards, all the chesed towards Israel.